Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I have a special guest with me who's no stranger to the show, Maddie Greenspan, the Senior Market Analyst at eToro. Maddie, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Tony. Hi, everybody.
Maddie, the market looks bullish. It looks great.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to wake up and see green on your screen and all of the prices going up. So I would love from your perspective, being an eToro, in the weeds, dealing with different trading, technical analysis, and so forth, where do you see Bitcoin heading, given that it's crossed over 8,000? Could we see 10,000 soon?
So, as you know, I try to avoid making any kind of predictions about the future and stuff like that. With that, I am very bullish on crypto, but I've always been bullish on crypto. I mean, I've been bullish since we crossed $1,000 per coin, back in early 2017, and I have been bullish all throughout that bull run and bullish all throughout the crypto winter. So I have not changed my stance since then. I believe that the industry is advancing very rapidly. Price isn't always the best indicator to understand that sort of growth that we're seeing. That said, this recent rally is ginormous. I mean, we're seeing already record volumes across the industry, which is if it's at BitMEX, or on the crypto exchanges, or on even the CME group hit a record high volume yesterday. So a very strong breakout on very strong volumes. That's just an incredible sign.
Yeah, and we've seen a plethora of positive news. We heard about Bakkt potentially launching in July. Gemini partnering with Flexit allow you to spend your crypto at Bed Bath Beyond, Whole Foods, a whole bunch of retailers. And then, I mean, I know, naturally what we've seen historically is the Bitcoin halving coming up next year usually starts driving a lot of bullish sentiment. Anything else you think that might be contributing to this? I mean, obviously we transition out to the bear market, but anything else you think that may be catapulting us a bit here?
Yeah, there are dozens of reasons, both technically and fundamentally, for this rally. I mean, this is not coming out of nowhere. We've seen the prices gaining momentum ever since the mid-December lows. I mean, and then, we saw that big pop on April 2nd, which just brought us into a new level. Shortly after that, we had a golden cross on Bitcoin, where we saw the short-term moving average exceed the long-term moving average, which generally indicates a coming bull trend. So this is not surprising. I think that people talk about the consensus effect. The consensus effect, I think there is something to be said for that. You have so many different people in the industry getting together. Crypto valuations generally are very influenced by the network. So, I mean, for example, let's say Dogecoin, right?
Yep.
Dogecoin does absolutely nothing. It's just a network of people joking around.
Yeah.
But with that, I mean, you see there that it has value, and I think that a large part of the value is derived just because of the network. So having that many people get together, you have things like product launches. You have things like people starting new ventures together, new partnerships, new investments, new infrastructure, and that just strengthens the industry overall. And that has translated into price before. Usually there's a lag on it, right? The consensus effect usually takes a week or two after afterwards until we see the prices start to moving. This time, the prices were moving even beforehand. So, the consensus convention, it's just adding fuel to the fire at this point. And I think, all of the major announcements that we just mentioned, and one also I think that's huge is Microsoft, for example, using the Bitcoin blockchain to allow people to log into to accounts and stuff like that. All of those type of things. I mean, and just yesterday, while the prices were surging, it was just an influx of amazingly good news. So this is a very good time for crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. It just seems the floodgates have been opened with the positive news, and maybe we'll hear some more later this week. I know and this is just speculation, not confirmed, but I think some folks saw some eBay advertisement related to crypto. Well, let's hope we hear some news from them. I know even recently there was rumors about E-Trade looking to offer crypto trading as well. So
that's right. And Fidelity is huge, right? That's more than $2 trillion under management. It's like $2.5 trillion under management. And all of a sudden their clients will be able to easily diversify into crypto. It's simply amazing. HTC is coming out with a phone that you can run a Bitcoin full node on.
Amazing.
From your pocket.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, this is just we're witnessing the type of wide-scale adoption that we've been dreaming about for years already, and it's just a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that note, with Bitcoin, do you see alt season around the corner?
So I think that as far as the large caps are concerned, or the large cap altcoins, they've been rallying along with Bitcoin. Certainly over the last month and a half, Bitcoin is the clear leader. Over the last 45 days, it's pretty much doubled in price. Some of the altcoins have been able to outperform a bit, but this isn't. As far as I'm concerned, alt season was precisely from February 11th when we had that big pop in the altcoins.
Yep.
And then it ended on April 2nd when we had that big surge in Bitcoin. So that was alt season to me. And while it was happening, I even put out a poll. How long is this going to last? Nobody knew. It was like the poll was exactly split evenly between 1 day, 1 week, and a year, a month and a year. And it was like 25% each. So nobody knew how long it would last. As far as I'm concerned, that's over at this point. Bitcoin is firmly in the driver's seat. Whether or not we see another, resurgence of altcoin season, we'll wait and see. We can't know from now.
Sure. And I think, what we've seen historically, because we're joined at the hip with Bitcoin, everything kind of moves at Bitcoin. We need Bitcoin to be successful, and then the altcoins follow, of course. So, but on the note of altcoins, yesterday you tweeted about XRP, and I think some of the XRP community misunderstood your point. So maybe you want to clarify a bit of that.
Yeah. So I'm bullish on XRP. I've been bullish on XRP ever since I met them in 2013. I love their idea and I love their team. Somebody was asking me why XRP hadn't joined the party, and this was something that, even CNBC asked me. I had a different answer for them. I think it was a better answer, actually, that because the XRP community have been purposely trying to distance themselves from the rest of the crypto community. I've seen increasing calls from the XRP community saying that it's too correlated with Bitcoin. Why is XRP not following Bitcoin? And I think that that the fact that Bitcoin was rallying and XRP was not, that could be a testament to the fact that they are getting disjunct somewhat. And there are two different visions completely, two different goals. One technology, two different type of technology, one type of technology, let's say, and two different kind of goals. My point that I was trying to make yesterday was about liquidity. And the reason that Bitcoin surges so much is that the liquidity is very limited. And actually, in this sense, XRP is a little bit better than Bitcoin because they have a massive amount of liquidity, right? They can introduce, there's a total supply of 99 billion XRP in the world, and then and about 55 billion is held in escrow by Ripple Labs, and they can release up to 1 billion tokens per month. We all know their schedule. Bitcoin has extremely limited on the supply side. There's 21 million that'll ever be created, and 4 million have yet to be mined. They'll be mined over the course of the next century. An estimated 4 million are completely lost, and we'll never see them again. So there's only 13 million that are actually in circulation. Of that, you have a lot of people who are just hodling, and they'll never sell at any price. With XRP, you don't have that same dynamic. And to be completely fair, I think that that's actually a better thing for any type of currency, is that you don't see as much volatility. And in this case, it kind of played out. And then people started tweeting me back saying, "Are you kidding me? If you divide it into, the Bitcoin goes to the 8th decimal and XRP only goes to the 6th decimal." The market tends to think in whole units. Right? Bitcoin is priced in whole units. It's not priced in satoshis.
Right.
XRP is not priced in drops. It's priced in XRP. And the fact that Ripple Labs is able to introduce new liquidity into the market, I think that that's great for them, that they're sitting on that kind of stockpile of treasury. But I think that it also helps with the liquidity factor. It makes it less the price fluctuations lower. Just a theory, but when people ask my opinion, I try to give it to them as best I can. Sometimes on Twitter, though, you have a very limited amount of space. You have 280 characters, and things going to get lost in translation. There was one thread where somebody was actually asking me the right questions, and we got to that answer, but there were a few dozen threads where people were just like, and
freaking out.
Unfortunately, I can't answer everybody to get to that same train of thought.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with you, because I'm bullish on XRP. I hold Bitcoin, I hold Ethereum. I personally diversify. But to your point of the scarcity of Bitcoin, it certainly has more of a scarcity. It has the branding. It's the original. And I think, like we just talked about, the market moves with it at this point. Now, later on, as XRP, I believe, is on the path of like mass utility if the financial institutions are going to use it, I think at that point, the utility is going to drive its price versus, I think Bitcoin's going to have some utility-driven price factors, of course, but right now it's a scarcity, and the new store of value concept, I think, is what's really catapulting it. So I think some people, but they want to see their crypto go up, and I hold XRP. I want to see it go up, but I think they have to put some things in context, I think, for sure.
As an investor, it's always a wise idea to diversify yourself. I mean, and that's across all assets. And my philosophy on this very well. Crypto is only a very small portion of my overall portfolio, and of the crypto that I'm holding, I diversify very well. I believe the last time we spoke was during alt season, when I was holding most of it in Litecoin and EOS.
Yep.
Right. And then XRP. I made a large position on XRP because I thought it was going to pump as well, and it just didn't pan out. At the moment, Bitcoin is in charge, so you'll see that Bitcoin is a large part of my portfolio. Does that mean that I'm a Bitcoin maximalist? Sometimes I lean that way. I can't lie. I'm not a Bitcoin supremacist, right? The difference here being Bitcoin supremacists believe that only Bitcoin should exist and no other form of blockchain really has a place in the world.
Yep.
Bitcoin maximalism is the thought that Bitcoin is the backbone of the crypto industry, and I do believe that very much.
Yeah, for sure. Now, moving ahead, we saw recently from eToro the launch of eToroX. Can you tell us a bit about what eToroX is and what's the details behind the rollout and so forth?
Yeah, so eToroX is a separate platform or separate company that we've been building up throughout the course of the crypto winter. It was announced just at the tail end of the last bull run, and we've been building it. Actually, it sits right over there across the wall. If it could move the camera in there. We have about 60 employees, I believe, now that are working exclusively in eToroX. And the idea here is one that we've been trying to get across since 2012, which is tokenize the world.
Yeah.
This is something I think we discussed how Vitalik Buterin used to work for eToro, working on a project called Colored Coins. And the idea here is that we believe that all financial assets will move to the blockchain.
Yep.
And we're doing our best to make that a reality. So the idea here is the first launch that we had was a suite of 8 stable coins, right? Stable coins, the way that we see them, are tokenized fiat, right? This is a launch pad because nobody needs to trade stable coins, right?
Yeah.
You tell me, okay, buy a stable coin. I'm like, why? Because it doesn't have very much potential for return. But the idea here is that we're able to start with something that's relatively simple, to start with issuing tokens, and then we can use that as a launch pad to introduce other tokenized assets. And it's very much in the early stages. You can already log in to eToroX.com, open up an account there and see what it's all about. We actually did a webcast just yesterday speaking about the functionality. But just understand that this is really, we planted the seed a year ago, And at the moment, we're just seeing it emerge from the ground. So the flowers, they will come and they will be very beautiful, but it's going to take some time until we get to that point.
Got it. So that's exciting. And I interviewed some other folks too who are doing similar things. We're helping to tokenize different assets, like some folks that securitize and so forth. So I think you guys are certainly ahead of the curve here. This is where we're headed, and the token economy, as we've all been talking about for a while.
Alternative value.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's some good topics that we've covered there. Maddie, thank you so much for your time. Always insightful information, and as things progress, we'd love to have you back on to talk about the market and things from your perspective, because I know you guys see kind of the 30,000 level view, while some of us here on probably just see our charts and prices. So we'd love to have you back on.
Most definitely, Tony. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Maddie.
All the best.
Bye.